You're not just getting older, your muscles are disappearing quietly every single day. And it's not because of aging alone. There's one food almost every senior is missing, and without it, your strength, balance, and energy will keep fading no matter how much you walk or stretch. Most people realize this too late. Stay until the end. The final truth may be your only chance to reverse the damage. We often begin our inquiry with a question that is already pointed in a specific direction. The question itself contains a certain fear, a certain resistance. We ask, how can I stop my muscles from vanishing? And in this question, we have already framed the body as something that is failing, something that is betraying us. We have already created a conflict, a battle between our desire to remain as we were and the natural unfolding of life. Perhaps a more skillful question to begin with is, what is my relationship with this body that I inhabit? Is it a tool? Is it a servant? Is it an enemy in the making? Or is it a faithful companion on a long journey, a companion that communicates with us in its own language, the language of sensation, of energy, of change? If we can shift our perspective from one of conflict to one of companionship, the entire landscape changes. The goal is no longer to fight a war against time, but to learn how to listen more deeply to a friend. This body is not a machine. A machine is assembled from parts, and when a part wears out, it is replaced. The machine has no consciousness, no innate wisdom. It simply performs its function until it breaks. But the body is a living system, a universe of intelligence. Every cell, every fiber, every drop of blood is part of a cohesive whole, animated by a force we can call life, or spirit, or consciousness. It is constantly renewing itself, constantly adapting. The process of aging, the changes we perceive in our muscular strength, are not signs that the system is broken. They are communications. The body is telling us that its needs are changing. The way it processes energy is changing. The support it requires from us is changing. Are we listening, or are we only shouting our own demands at it, demanding that it be what it once was, ignoring what it is right now? The foundation of all strength, all vitality, is not in a specific food or exercise, but in this relationship. It is in the quality of our attention and our willingness to adapt with grace. Think of a home. When you are young, your home is a place of boundless energy, of running and playing. As you mature, the home becomes a place of work, of raising a family, of activity. And as you enter the later seasons of life, the home might become a sanctuary, a place of quiet reflection, of peace. The physical structure of the home is the same, but its purpose, its energy, its feeling has transformed. You would not demand the walls to remember the boisterous energy of childhood. You would instead adapt the home to suit your present needs, perhaps adding a comfortable chair for reading, cultivating a garden for quiet contemplation. Why do we not offer this same wisdom and kindness to our own physical home, our body? We cling to the memory of its past functions and feel sorrow when they change, instead of seeing the opportunity to cultivate new qualities, new forms of strength, new ways of being. The first step to preserving the body is to befriend it, to let go of the idea of it as a separate, failing object, and to embrace it as the very vessel of our life's journey, deserving of our deepest respect and attention. So, before we speak of any food, of any external substance, we must first look inward. We must cultivate a state of mind that is receptive and compassionate. When you feel a weakness in your arm, can you meet that sensation with curiosity instead of fear? Can you ask, "What are you telling me?" instead of thinking, "I am becoming weak"? This shift is the most profound change you can make. It is the shift from being a victim of circumstance to being an active participant in your own well-being. It is the inner foundation upon which all other practices must be built. Without this foundation, any diet, any exercise is merely a temporary patch on a deeper disconnect. But with this foundation of mindful, compassionate awareness, every action, every meal becomes a powerful affirmation of life, a conscious act of nourishing not just the body, but the entire being. This is where true, lasting strength is born. It is born in the quiet space of understanding between the mind and the body, where they cease to be two and become one harmonious whole. This is the ground we must first prepare. Observing change. Nature is our greatest teacher in the art of change. Observe a great ancient tree through the cycle of a year. In spring, it bursts forth with new life, full of sap and vibrant green leaves. In summer, it stands in its full power, providing shade and fruit, a symbol of peak vitality. But then comes autumn. The leaves turn to gold and red, and they begin to fall. The tree lets them go without a struggle, without sorrow. It understands that this release is necessary. Winter arrives and the tree stands bare, its branches like stark outlines against a gray sky. To one who does not understand the cycles, the tree might look dead, or at the very least weak and diminished. It has lost its impressive canopy, its vibrant color. But is the tree weak? Or is it in a state of deep, quiet, concentrated power? It has withdrawn its energy inward, conserving it, protecting the life force within its core, preparing for the spring that will inevitably come again. The tree does not fight the winter, it adapts to it. It embodies the wisdom of its season. Now let us turn this observation to ourselves. The human body also moves through seasons. There is the spring of childhood, the summer of our adult years, and then the autumn and winter of our later life. The changes we see, such as the natural decline in muscle mass, which science calls sarcopenia, can be seen as the leaves of our own tree beginning to fall. Our culture, so focused on the summer of life, teaches us to see this as a tragedy. We are taught to fear the winter, to cling to the leaves, to inject the tree with chemicals to keep them green for just a little longer. But what if we were to adopt the wisdom of the tree? What if we could see this change not as a loss, but as a natural transition? A signal from our own inner intelligence that it is time to shift our focus. It is a time to draw our energy inward, to cultivate a different kind of strength, one that is not dependent on bulging muscles but on resilience, on flexibility, on a deep and quiet core. The practice here is one of pure observation, without judgment. When we look in the mirror, we are so often looking with the eyes of a harsh critic. We compare the reflection to a photograph from 20 years ago. We see only the deficits, only what has been lost. This is a painful and fruitless exercise. Can we instead look with the eyes of a neutral, compassionate observer? Can we see the changes in the lines on our face as a map of our experiences, of all the laughter and tears we have lived? Can we feel the change in our physical power, not as a failure, but simply as a change? Like noting that the weather today is cloudy, whereas yesterday it was sunny. It is neither good nor bad. It simply is. This practice of non-judgmental observation is incredibly powerful. It frees up an immense amount of energy that was previously wasted on resistance, on fear, and on regret. That freed energy can then be redirected into skillful action. So the process of sarcopenia, of muscle vanishing, is a real physiological process. The body becomes less efficient at synthesizing new protein to repair and build muscle tissue, especially if we are sedentary. This is a fact, but our suffering around this fact is a choice. We can see it as a terrifying decline into frailty, or we can see it as a clear message from our body. The message is, my needs have changed. The casual way we lived before is no longer sufficient. I need more conscious support now. I need you to pay closer attention. It is an invitation to a deeper partnership. By observing this change with calm acceptance, we can then ask, what is the appropriate response? What does my body need now to maintain its integrity, its function, its grace? We move from a place of panic to a place of purposeful care. We become like the wise gardener who sees the first signs of autumn and knows it is time to prepare the soil and protect the roots for the coming cold. The change itself is not the problem. Our resistance to it is nourishing roots. Once we have established a foundation of mindful awareness and accepted the natural flow of change, we can then turn our attention to the practical means of support. If our body is a living temple, then the food we consume is the offering we place upon the altar. It is the very material from which the temple is maintained and repaired. Let us return to our metaphor of the tree. A tree's strength and longevity are not determined by its leaves, but by its roots. The roots are the unseen foundation, drawing sustenance and stability from the earth. If the roots are weak, if the soil is poor, the entire tree will be fragile. no matter how magnificent its branches may seem for a short while. For us, our roots are our digestive system, and the soil is the food we choose to consume. The quality of this soil will directly determine the strength and resilience of our entire physical structure. Nourishment is a word that goes deeper than food. Food can be anything we eat. It can be empty, it can be harmful, it can be consumed mindlessly. Nourishment implies a conscious act of providing true, life-sustaining substance. It is an act of care. When we begin to think in terms of nourishing ourselves rather than simply feeding ourselves, the choices we make naturally begin to shift. We are no longer just satisfying a craving or filling an empty stomach. We are participating in a sacred act of renewal. We are providing our body with the essential information and energy it needs to continue its intelligent work of self-regulation and repair. Every meal becomes an opportunity to either support this intelligence or to obstruct it. There is no neutral meal. Every bite either contributes to harmony or to disharmony within the system. In the context of maintaining muscle and strength as we age, this concept of nourishment becomes paramount. The body's ability to build and repair tissue is diminishing. It is becoming more selective, more sensitive. We can no longer afford to offer it poor quality materials and expect it to build a strong house. We must provide the highest quality, most easily assimilated materials possible. Think of it like this. If you are building a structure with a team of very experienced but older master craftsmen, you would not hand them warped wood and crumbling bricks. You would give them the finest, strongest, most well-prepared materials so that their skill and energy are not wasted on overcoming the deficiencies of the materials themselves. This is the kindness and wisdom we must show our bodies. We must provide building blocks that are pure, potent, and full of life force. This brings us to the question of what these materials are. Before we can identify a single type of food, we must first understand the principle. The principle is that the body requires specific building blocks to create and maintain its structures. Muscle tissue in particular is made of protein. Protein is not a single thing, but a complex chain made of smaller units, like a wall is made of many individual bricks. Therefore, the nourishment we seek must be rich in these fundamental building blocks. It must be a substance that the body can easily break down into these essential units and then transport them to where the master craftsmen, our cellular repair mechanisms, are waiting to do their work. The journey begins with choosing a soil, a source of food that is deeply and fundamentally nourishing, one that respects the body's changing needs and provides it with the very essence of what it needs to maintain its form and function with grace and integrity. Essential building. So now we arrive at the heart of the matter, the specific nourishment that becomes so crucial in the later seasons of life. But I will not give you the name of an exotic berry from a distant mountain or a complex supplement. The wisdom we seek is often simple, humble, and has been with us all along. The essential building material we are speaking of is protein, but more specifically, protein that is complete and easily assimilated. And the source I wish to guide your attention towards is one of profound symbolism and power: the seed. Think of what a seed is. It is a promise. It is the concentrated potential of life. Within a tiny, humble bean, lentil, or grain lies the complete blueprint to create a new plant, a new life. It contains a perfect balance of proteins, carbohydrates, and fats, the very stuff of creation. When we consume these seeds in their many forms, we are consuming the very essence of life's potential. In many spiritual traditions, the diet becomes simpler as one progresses. This is not for a lack of resources, but out of a deep understanding. The body, when the mind is quiet, requires simpler, purer forms of energy. Foods that are born from the earth, that are close to the sun, are seen as carrying a cleaner vibration. Legumes, such as lentils, chickpeas, and beans, and soy products derived from the humble soybean, like tofu and tempeh, are pillars of this understanding. They are in essence concentrated seeds. They provide what is known as complete protein, meaning they contain all the essential amino acids, all the fundamental bricks that our body needs to build but cannot produce on its own. They are the complete alphabet of life that our body uses to write the sentences of our physical form. Why does this become so critical as we age? Because, as we discussed, the body's protein synthesis engine becomes less efficient. It needs a clearer signal. It needs the building blocks to be delivered in a form that is easy to recognize and use. When we eat these foundational plant-based proteins, we are providing a very clean, very direct source of these materials. They are often easier on the digestive system than heavy animal proteins, which can be taxing on an aging body and can create a state of inflammation. A state of inflammation is like trying to build a house while a fire is burning in the next room. It is a state of alarm, of chaos, that disrupts the careful, quiet work of repair and renewal. The humble bean, the simple lentil, offers strength without this fire. It offers the building blocks in a state of peace. So the one food is not a single item, but a principle. It is the principle of consuming complete, life-filled protein from the seed source of life, making a simple stew of lentils and vegetables, preparing a dish with tofu, or adding chickpeas to a salad. These are not just meals. They are profound acts of providing the body with the essential tools for its most important work. You are telling your body with every bite, here are the materials you need. They are pure and they are whole. Now please do your intelligent work of maintaining this temple. This is a conversation. It is a partnership. You are not forcing the body, you are supporting its innate wisdom. By shifting a significant portion of your protein intake to these clean plant-derived sources, you reduce the inflammatory load on your system, you provide all the necessary building blocks for muscle repair, and you align yourself with a simpler, more harmonious way of living and eating. This is the practical, tangible secret. It is humble, it is accessible, and it is profoundly effective. Mindful consumption. Now that we have identified the essential building materials, we must address an element that is arguably even more important: the state in which we consume them. You can prepare the most nutritious meal in the world, a perfect bowl of lentils and quinoa, rich in all the essential proteins. But if you eat this meal while standing up, while watching distressing news on the television, while arguing with a family member, or while your mind is racing with worry about the future, you may as well be eating dust. The food will enter your body, but the nourishment will not be received. The body cannot be in a state of alarm and a state of peaceful digestion and assimilation at the same time. It is one or the other. The fight or flight response triggered by stress shuts down all non-essential functions, and digestion is considered non-essential when the mind perceives a threat. The ritual of eating is a practice of mindfulness, a meditation in itself. Before the first bite, can you take a moment to simply be with your food, to look at it, to smell it, to acknowledge the long journey it has taken to reach your bowl, the sun, the rain, the earth, the farmer, the transportation, your own effort in preparing it? Can you cultivate a feeling of gratitude for this offering? This simple act of pausing and giving thanks is not merely a polite custom. It is a powerful physiological signal to your entire nervous system. It tells your body, we are safe, we are calm, we are ready to receive nourishment. This signal allows the digestive system to turn on fully. The stomach produces the necessary acids, the pancreas releases its enzymes, and the entire gastrointestinal tract prepares to welcome and skillfully break down the food you are about to eat. Without this signal, the process is inefficient and incomplete from the very start. Then there is the act of chewing. This is another lost art in our hurried world. We often swallow our food almost whole, forcing our stomach and intestines to do the work that our teeth were designed for. Chewing is the first and most critical stage of digestion. It is a mechanical process of breaking down the food into smaller particles, increasing the surface area for enzymes to work upon. But it is also a chemical process. Saliva contains enzymes that begin breaking down carbohydrates right in your mouth. When you chew slowly and thoroughly, you are pre-digesting your food. You are making the job of the rest of your digestive system infinitely easier. For an aging body, where digestive fire may not be as strong as it once was, this is an act of supreme kindness and intelligence. Chewing each mouthful until it is liquid is a powerful practice. It forces you to slow down. It allows you to truly taste your food. And it ensures you extract the maximum amount of life force and nutrients from every single bite. Finally, there is the state of mind during the meal. Try to make your mealtime a period of sensory awareness. Put away the phones, turn off the screens, pay attention to the textures, the flavors, the temperatures in your mouth. Be present with the act of eating. When you do this, you are not only nourishing your body, you are nourishing your mind with a period of calm, focused attention. This mindful consumption ensures that the wonderful building blocks we spoke of, the proteins from the beans, the lentils, the seeds, are not just ingested, but are truly absorbed and assimilated by your body. It ensures that the conversation between you and your body is a clear and peaceful one. The what, the food itself, is the message, but the how, the state of mindful consumption, is the act of making sure the message is delivered, received, and understood. Without this, even the best message is lost in the noise. Active stillness. We have prepared the inner foundation of the mind. We have provided the essential building materials through nourishment. Now, we must give the body a reason to use them. The body is an eminently practical and efficient system. It does not waste resources. If you provide it with the finest wood and stone, but you never give the command to build, the materials will simply sit there and eventually they will decay. The command to build, the instruction to our cellular craftsmen to take these proteins and weave them into strong, functional muscle tissue is given through movement. But here again, our modern understanding of movement is often aggressive and competitive. We think of working out, of pushing to failure, of punishment. This is the summer mindset. For the autumn and winter of life, we must discover a more intelligent, more harmonious form of activity. We must discover active stillness. What is active stillness? It is movement that arises not from the ego's desire to achieve a certain look or lift a certain weight, but from a deep internal listening. It is movement that cultivates and circulates energy, or qi, rather than just expending it. Practices like Tai Chi, Qigong, or even very mindful, slow-form yoga are perfect examples. In these practices, the focus is not on muscular strain, but on alignment, on breath, on the seamless connection between intention and physical expression. The movements are often slow, deliberate, and graceful. From the outside, it may not look like a strenuous workout, but internally, a tremendous amount of work is being done. Every muscle fiber, every tendon, every joint is being gently engaged, stretched, and awakened. This gentle but consistent engagement is precisely the signal the body needs. It is a quiet, clear instruction. We need strength here. We need stability here. We need flexibility here. Please use the materials we have provided to maintain these structures. This form of movement is also a practice of deep presence. You cannot perform a Tai Chi form correctly if your mind is wandering. You must be fully present in your body, feeling the shifting of weight from one foot to the other, the extension of an arm, the rotation of the torso. It becomes a moving meditation. This unites the mind and body in a single, purposeful act. It heals the disconnect we spoke of at the beginning. You are no longer a mind telling a body what to do. You become a unified being, flowing through space. This has a profound effect on the nervous system, calming it and shifting it into the rest and repair state where healing and building can actually occur. You are creating the perfect internal environment for the proteins you've consumed to be synthesized into new tissue. You are building strength from a place of peace, not a place of war. Even in literal stillness, there can be activity. The simple act of standing or sitting in a meditative posture with correct alignment, the spine long, the shoulders relaxed, the breath deep in the belly, is a powerful form of active stillness. It engages all the small postural muscles that are so crucial for balance and stability, the very things that protect us from falls and maintain our independence as we age. You are training your body to be strong and stable from the inside out. This is a very different kind of strength from the superficial muscle built for show. It is a deep-rooted, functional strength. It is the strength of the bamboo, which is not rigid, but flexible and resilient. By integrating these practices of active stillness into your daily life, you complete the circle. You provide the nourishment, and then you provide the gentle, intelligent instruction on how to use it. This creates a virtuous cycle of renewal, maintaining the body's integrity not by fighting its changes, but by working in wise and harmonious partnership with them. Harmonious living. We have journeyed through the landscape of the self, from the inner foundation of the mind to the very practical act of movement. And now we arrive at the final insight, the piece that connects everything together. It is this: the secret to maintaining strength, vitality, and grace as we age is not found in a single food, a single exercise, or a single mental trick. The secret is not a thing at all. It is a quality. It is the quality of harmony. It is the conscious cultivation of a harmonious relationship between your mind, your body, and your actions. This is the ultimate destination. The focus on one food was merely the gateway, a simple and tangible starting point to begin a much deeper and more meaningful journey of self-discovery and self-care. It was the first step on a path that leads to a completely new way of inhabiting your own life. This harmony is not a static state to be achieved, but a dynamic balance to be practiced, moment by moment. It is the harmony between acceptance and action. You accept the natural changes of your body with peace and without judgment. And from that place of peace, you take skillful action to support it. It is the harmony in your nourishment. You choose foods that are life-giving and pure, and you consume them with a mind that is present and grateful, allowing the nourishment to be fully received. It is the harmony in your movement. You engage your body not with aggression, but with gentle, mindful attention, building a deep, resilient strength that serves you in your daily life. It is the harmony between activity and rest, knowing when to act and when to be still, allowing your body the crucial time it needs to repair and rebuild. When you live in this state of harmony, the fear of aging begins to dissolve. You are no longer fighting a losing battle against time. You are flowing with the river of life, adapting to its changing currents with wisdom and skill. Your sense of self-worth is no longer tied to the appearance of your body or its ability to perform as it did in its youth. Instead, your strength becomes a measure of your inner resilience, your clarity of mind, your compassion for yourself and others. This is a strength that does not diminish with age. In fact, it is a strength that can only grow, deepen, and become more profound with the passage of time and the accumulation of experience. You become less like a rigid statue that is slowly crumbling, and more like an ancient tree whose gnarled bark and spreading branches tell a story of endurance, wisdom, and deep-rooted peace. This is the true vitality we seek. It is not the frenetic, outward-directed energy of youth, but a quiet, powerful inner radiance. It is the ability to meet each day with a calm mind and a body that, while changed, is still a capable and faithful friend. It is knowing how to care for yourself as a whole being. This path requires no special equipment, no expensive supplements, no extreme regimes. It requires only your attention, your intention, and your consistency. It is a return to a simpler, more natural way of being. By cultivating this inner harmony, you will discover a form of strength that is timeless, a vitality that is unshakable, and a grace that will carry you through all the seasons of your life. True strength is not measured in the weight you can lift, but in the grace with which you carry yourself through life. It is the quiet resilience of the bamboo that bends in the storm but does not break. Cultivate this inner harmony, and you will find a vitality that no passage of time can diminish. I've been so afraid of getting older and weaker. This talk shifted something profound in me. It's not about fighting my body, but finally learning to listen to it and work with it. The idea of nourishment being a conversation with my body, and movement being a quiet instruction, it all makes so much sense. Thank you. I feel like I have a new, more peaceful path to walk now.